Hey, this is Kara, and we're with the Superhuman Resilience Project, and I'm coming to you live from the Carnival Legend. We're out in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, and I have some special guests. We're going to turn this camera around and introduce some folks to you. So,
Hi, my name is Asia Harding, and I am a Navy veteran.
And I'm Oscar Harding. That's my beautiful wife. I'm an Army veteran.
so we've decided to come to you today and just tell you guys about our experience with Carnival. And one of the things I love about cruising on Carnival cruise ships is they really look out for veterans and first responders, and they really celebrate them during the cruise. What do you guys find most interesting about the celebrations that Carnival does?
I like that there are large celebrations and they have small celebrations. They have, the heroes, the heroes bar. They also have the one where we can all get together, which is probably my favorite because we get to hear stories from other veterans and some of the things that they went through and things that we can kind of bond over. We get to hear stories of the older veterans and stories that we have all kind of had together.
I like the camaraderie with the veterans because there's so many on the boat. Every time we go, we see so many veterans on there, and you can just see them there everywhere.
Yeah.
And how they come together and we have that bond, like she was saying, the Heroes Lounge, the Veterans Appreciation. It's just the bond that you get for being on the boat with all the other veterans.
I like the variety of experiences too, because we're not just talking about Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. We're talking about Coast Guard. We're talking about Space Force. We're talking about police and all the different first responders out there, nurses, that fall into that category. But it's not only just the categories, but the age range.
Yes.
So, we've got folks on here, and I've met folks in the past from like World War II, and I've met folks from Vietnam. So, Carnival celebrating us just gives us a great opportunity to connect with people on the ship.
Yes.
Not only that, but it kind of helps them to know who's could be there if something happens and they need to actually ask for them.
Yes, I agree.
So, tell me a little bit about your time in the service.
I went in 1997, got out in 2002. Went in as a 91 Sierra, which is preventive medicine. I didn't work one day doing preventive medicine. They had another course open up. And back then, I didn't know what it was, but it was going to keep me in San Antonio for a little bit longer. And I'm originally born and raised in Houston. So I took this test, passed it, had no idea what I was going to be doing after that, but it was radiation safety. So during peacetime, what we did was decommission old nuclear reactors. Luckily, there was no wartime where I had to deal with any type of nuclear type of accidents or anything like that. So, but I loved it. And my biggest regret is that I didn't do the whole 20 years. Yeah. So, but I loved it every time since I was in. Basic was a little culture shock, but once you get through basic, I recommend that everybody should at least go in for at least a year or two just to get that experience.
Yeah, I think it definitely helps give people a footing. I mean, from that young adult to adulthood, it really gives you that footing of, wow, I need to do that.
Yes.
So, all right. And how about you? Tell us about the Navy.
So I was in Navy, and just like everybody else, we had to take the ASVAB, and I scored pretty well. I had several different jobs that I could have done, but I chose kind of to be in the grunt, kind of do hard work. So I was aviation ordnance. So I went to school for building bombs. Once I got on the ship, I was the only female in my unit. The first female, the only female the whole time I was there. So I was on the USS Kitty Hawk, based in Japan. I was in weapons G4, so that was my unit. And like you said, boot camp was definitely different. I was not expecting, that, but I was pretty tough growing up, so it didn't really bother me. And like him, I do wish I would have done the 20 years because I definitely miss it. I miss the camaraderie. I miss just everybody kind of being on the same wavelength. The only thing I would say, oh man, I lost my train of thought. Hold on. So you talked about it being a culture shock. I was lost. I didn't really know what I wanted to do after high school. And I was kind of a troublemaker. And the Navy really helped me kind of grasp who I am and who I wanted to be.
I find that hard to about her.
She was. Always been the calm nature, easy going when she was a troublemaker.
I was a troublemaker, and I think the military really helped me find who I wanted to be and who I was, and I didn't like people yelling at me, but I feel like that's what I needed. I needed somebody to like set me straight and get me in line. And I really think it helped me become who I am now. And like I've gone to school, I became a teacher, and I help, troubled youth after because that's what it was. So it really does help. It really does. So yeah.
So, I had a cousin in the Navy who was an underwater welder on a nuclear submarine, and he chose submarine duty for his entire service.
Wow.
So he did it all underwater.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
So, we talk a lot when we talk with veterans communities about the things that we see, the trauma that we see.
Yes.
And one of the things I hear from people who don't get it is, oh, that's what you signed up for.
No.
That's like saying that somebody that went to a school that has a shooting signed up for this.
So, exactly.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
What are the things? And please, we're not trying to re-traumatize or anything. But what are the things that you would want people to know that are thinking about enlisting in the military?
I would want them to know that if you need assistance for just about anything, there's other people that are in the military that'll be available for you, especially like programs like the ones you have yourself. I mean, I think this podcast just helps out to let people know that there's other things that are available for them once they get in.
Right. And you've got a podcast yourself.
I did have a podcast.
Oh, you did have?
We did.
Okay.
With a couple of my other military buddies, but we haven't been doing it for probably, a few months now. So, yeah.
Well, maybe they should get it going, y'all. What do you think?
Yes.
We should. We'll bring it back. We'll bring it back.
And when he does, I'll give him my information. Well, actually, they already have my information.
Yes.
They'll contact me, and I'll make sure and get it out to you guys. What about you? What do you think
So
about that?
I think for females in the military, it's different. A lot of times when females go in, you might be treated differently, and you just need to be aware that if something happens, you need to say something. Whether it's sexual abuse, sexual trauma, you're being talked to in a way that's not appropriate. Those are the things that you need to step up and say something. Do not be afraid to say something. Don't be afraid that you're going to mess your career up. Say something. It is okay. And that's something that I had to learn. You have to say something when something happens. Don't be afraid to talk and say and tell somebody else. So
that is such good advice, because in the mentoring that I do, I would say probably close to 80% of the female veterans have experienced sexual trauma while in the military.
yes.
And I believe the statistics show that there's a pretty high percentage, 75 to 85% of women who join the military are joining the military to escape some sort of abuse, whether that be sexual abuse or mental abuse or physical abuse. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of an interesting thing that you brought up there, because one of the things I would like those women to know is that they have to say something, like you said, but they're not alone.
Mm-hmm. You're not alone.
And
sure.
There are recourses for what happens. Mm-hmm. You don't have to put up with it. Yes, you're stepping into what some people might consider the man's world, but we're just as capable. We're just as strong. We're just as smart, and can do the same things that men can do. And that's fine. All right. So what's your favorite part of the cruise been so far?
My favorite part has just been hitting all the different destinations. I've been to Cozumel, but I haven't been to the other places. So just being able to experience the other places and just seeing all the people on the cruise. Like, I love seeing just the way other people interact with one another and the different things that they've been through or just their lives. I just love meeting new people. So I've just had a great time meeting people, going to different places and exploring and eating wonderful food and not having to cook for 10 days.
And how about yourself?
I'm going to start off with not having to cook, even though I don't cook. Not having to clean for 10 days, meeting all the new people. I'm a water baby, so all of the ports that we've been to so far, Cozumel, Mahogany Bay, Montego Bay, I just love being in the water. And then meeting all the new people, it's so many entertaining stories and stuff like that, so I just love it. I love it. Being away from home and getting out, seeing something different is a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Well, we all met on the ship.
Yes.
So yes. We didn't know each other before then, and it was actually just today that they agreed to do the show with me. So I'm going to ask this question, and you don't have to answer this, but what would your advice be for veterans that are struggling with their trauma right now? That they, a lot of us have compound trauma from. It's not just the one thing; it's multiple things that have built up, and we learn to constantly scan rooms. We learn to want to sit with our backs to a wall. We want to, we do those types of things that people hear about. But what would you like people that have experienced those types of traumas to know?
I would say don't be afraid to reach out to different groups. There's a lot of different groups out there to help us. I know it's sometimes everybody, like you were saying, when you're in, you're kind of like, oh, I don't want to say anything. You feel like you're going to be shunned upon or something like that. But I feel like you need to reach out. There's a lot of different groups out here that are trying to reach out and help people that you should reach out and be found with those groups.
Absolutely.
So for me, I go through the VA, and the VA has been very helpful to me. They do have, especially in Houston, they do have where you can just walk in and actually speak to a therapist.
That's very nice.
I go through therapy every week, and I do it virtually. So you can do it virtually. You do not have to actually go in and see somebody. You can do it virtually. That's how I meet my therapist. I talk to them virtually. There are different groups. They have music therapy. They have pet therapy. They have yoga. They have all different types of groups within the VA if you can't afford to go outside the VA to get therapy. They have a hotline. Please, please, please do not be afraid to reach out. There are so many people who are going through what you've gone through, and we know how to talk to you, or they know how to talk to you, and just don't be afraid to reach out. It's not a stigma anymore like it used to be. Please, please, please just reach out and talk to somebody.
It's funny when you're in the military because you get that connection with people, and it's all about the warrior.
Yes.
Yes. We're warriors. Um, we are the ones who stand between them and darkness.
Yes.
I mean, from what they've known. And I think it's amazing that people don't understand how that impacts people.
Mm-hmm.
Or again, have that whole, well, that's what they signed up for attitude about that. But I think that one of the most important things that we're saying these days is that about that stigma, your feelings are valid.
Yes.
Your feelings, no matter what they are valid. The three of us could stand right here, right now, and we could have an experience. And all three of us are going to experience them differently based on our histories.
Correct.
And all three of us are going to have different responses to those things based on our histories. So one of the important things I would like for people to understand, that I strive to let people know, is that your feelings are valid.
Yes.
You have a right to them.
Yeah.
What you feel is legitimate and real.
Yes.
And nobody has a right to judge those feelings.
Correct.
And I think that's so important.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
We're gonna take time out here. All right, and we're back. And it's fun because we're shooting a live video right here on a cruise ship.
Yes.
And so we're gonna have some pauses in there. We're gonna see some edits that we have people walking through and talking. Of course, it's public place. That's where we're at. So, folks, I think one of the things I'd like you to know, we had Adam lined up to come in, and he said he was going to try to make it if he could. Adam's our cruise director, and he was going to talk a little bit about Carnival and their response to veterans. But for those of you who don't know, Christine Duffy, who's the president of Carnival Cruise Lines, is from a long line of veterans in her own family. And they are truly dedicated to helping us. And like you brought up, you brought up the Heroes Bar.
Yeah.
It's a place, whether you drink or not, you can go in, and you don't have to be a veteran to go in there. You can be a first responder to go in there. You can be anybody on the ship and go in there. But it's a great place to go in and meet people we have like minds, we have like thoughts, we have like experiences, and we get a chance to feel that we're still part of that camaraderie that we had when we had that warrior camaraderie that we had in the military. So I think that's a really cool thing too. Yeah. So what else would you like to add to the show?
I just want to say it's just been a great experience to come on here and meet other veterans and just other people in general and everything. But if you're in the military, out the military, civilian, whatever, come check out Carnival Cruise and just come and have a great time. You'll meet great people like these people. So it's been wonderful.
Yes.
He's included in these people. And how about you?
I just want to say Carnival is amazing. However, if you are a veteran or in the military and you need help, please reach out. Please try and find somebody you can talk to, whether it be someone in the military, somebody you know, somebody you don't know. Please reach out and get that help. That's what all of us want to help each other. We really do. We're here for veterans and we want to help veterans in any way possible.
And if you're interested, folks, reach out to me. You got my email address, but it's questions for Kara. That's questions, number 4, Kara, Cara, at gmail.com. And when you send an email to that, let me know if you guys would be interested in getting together and doing a warrior cruise, doing a veterans cruise. We can make it for all military. We can make it for all first responders. We can do it all together. Let me know if that's interested, because I happen to know somebody who's a travel agent who can also help hook that up. Yes. We could make a good group cruise, and honestly, when you go on a group cruise, bring your families and let them see that there are other kids that have parents who are experiencing the types of things they may be going through, and that whatever they think from the things they've seen from their parents' trauma is that their parents are not broken. They have gone through so much on their own, and they're still standing. And that is something that I hope that these kids understand and are proud of.
Being technically proud of their parents.
So bring your family on this cruise, on a Carnival cruise. And if you're interested in that possibility, like we can set up a group package. I can set up a group thing, and we can make it a little bit cheaper than you can book it on your own. And if you do already have special rates and are familiar with Carnival, I could even book you into that group cruise with your special rates, and you can still be a part of that cruise. So the more the merrier. We had probably close to 100 on the stage the other day.
Oh, yes.
I would say at least 100 on the stage the other day for the group photo. It was an amazing shot. If you'd like, I can post that picture on the website. That is renewedperspectives.me/podcast. And that will get you to a group photo of the veterans that were on this particular Carnival cruise, the Carnival Legend, when we left on April 13th from Galveston, Texas. And we have visited Cozumel, Mexico, Belize, Isla Tropical. They call it used to be Roatan. They call it Isla Tropical now in Honduras. We've been to Montego Bay, Jamaica, and we've been to the Cayman Islands. And we are now in the middle of, literally in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, about probably 250 miles from Galveston still. So we're headed back, and tomorrow we're going to get off the ship. And I've made so many amazing friends. I've met so many amazing people on this trip.
Amazing.
It really has been.
This is a way you will build your community. And building community means you build your own strength, your own power, your own ability to deal with your situation.
Yes, I agree.
So, all right. Well, I want to thank you guys both so much for joining me on the show.
Yes.
This has been my privilege to talk with both of you and meet both of you. Even though, we're both Army and you're Navy. Yeah. We're not going to hold that against you.
I still love you guys.
So, for now, that is Superhuman Resilience Project. We want to thank our sponsors, WEnergy.gg and Deemed Fit for Duty. Both of those, you can get discounts by visiting my website. Again, that's renewedperspectives.me/podcast. Thanks for joining us. See you next time on the Superhuman Resilience Project. Remember this. You are trained to be superhuman, but here you only have to be human.